Good morning and welcome back to Condo, Craze, and HOAs. We're here every Sunday at 11 a.m. live from 850 WFTL in South Florida, and we are live on YouTube on the Condo, Craze, and HOAs channel. I'm Karen Curtis, and I'm here again today with attorney Eric Glazer from Glazer and Sachs, PA. Eric is board certified by the Florida Bar in Condominium and Plan Development Law and has firms with attorneys in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. And we are here each week to answer all your calls and emails about the issues that make life in your condominium or HOA absolutely crazy from one minute to the next, and it's getting crazier. We would love to get the phone lines going early, or in our YouTube chat box, go to YouTube and go to Condo, Craze, and HOAs. No matter where you are in the state, the country, the world, you can call us toll free right here in the studio, 877-850-8585, 877-850-8585, or again, visit us on the Condo, Craze, and HOAs channel on YouTube to ask your question in the chat box.
Hey,
Eric.
happy Sunday morning to everybody. And Karen's right. Don't forget to do two things. Number one, of course, watch us on the Condo, Craze, and HOAs YouTube channel. You can not only watch the show live, but every show that we've done since we've been on YouTube is there, like a podcast. You can go back and watch it at your convenience. And, of course, join our Condo, Craze, and HOAs email list at condocrazeandhoas.com by joining in to get emails about the show, our blog, our free seminars. Big one coming up. Karen, we're sold out for this week.
Yeah,
Thursday
I knew you
night
would
is
be.
sold out. I can't. It's been insane.
I knew it.
Newsletters, you're going to get updates on the law and a lot more. Just, again, join our list by going to condocrazeandhoas.com. We do a blog. We were doing the blog now for also 13 years at hoa-condoblog.com. By the way, I like to bring this up once in a while. This blog, if you go to the show's website at condocrazeandhoas.com, I did something that I'm really, truly proud of. We took every blog I've ever done for the last 13 or 15 years, however long, and we made them searchable. So if you have a topic that you want to research, just go to our website, type in the topic, and everything I've ever written about that topic comes right back up. And tomorrow's topic is back to HOAs this week, finally. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well today.
Well, it seems like, for week after week after week, you've been blogging about condominiums for the obvious reason that condo laws have undergone an absolutely dramatic change this year.
Yeah, and Karen, not only is the change dramatic, but it's no doubt going to lead to foreclosures of countless units when unit owners can't pay the necessary special assessments for all these things coming up, like Phase 1 inspections, Phase 2 inspections, numerous costly repairs, and the full funding of reserve accounts. So what is there really to say about HOAs this week? How about this? Despite what you may feel about your specific HOA, all owners of homes located in HOAs, guess what, guys? You're pretty lucky.
Unless
Very
Cynthia's
lucky.
your president with the violation.
Exactly.
Violation. I see you've met Cynthia.
Right.
Okay, so because the new inspection laws only apply to buildings 3 stories or higher, and that would include if your building has a parking garage underneath 2 stories?
I think the parking garage counts as level 1.
Okay.
So if it's level 1 and 2 stories above that, there's 3. You're in. Yeah.
And your single family home is off the radar.
Right. That's the good thing about living in an HOA now, right? You're completely off the radar. And, I don't doubt for a second that over the next 2 years, as condo owners begin to realize what they're in for financially, they're going to start searching for homes located in HOAs, and especially owners who are retired and on fixed incomes. And, of course, in addition to that, townhome condominiums under 3 stories. Wow, that's going to be a hot commodity, Karen.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're right, there won't be nearly enough single-family homes and townhomes to accommodate the rush of fleeing condo owners that just can't afford to live there anymore, right?
Yeah.
Especially the older population.
No doubt.
These homes will no doubt be going for a premium.
Yeah, I know those of you who live in an HOA and are responsible for your own roof, you're sitting there thinking, we're wrong, that HOA owners took it on the chin in this year. As well, because you guys had tremendous rise in insurance rates. You weren't the only ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like one of these condo owners can say, that they'll just move inland, right?
No, absolutely not. It makes no difference moving inland. It's not going to help. There's old buildings inland as well.
Right. 3 stories or higher. They all fall under this new law.
Yeah, absolutely. And, condo owners, when it comes to the insurance, condo owners have gone through the same massive insurance price increases in addition to every other expense that they have on their way. So HOA owners, you're not increases in insurance. And like you say, for those of you that is 3 stories or more, I'd like to know, what is your plan here? What's the bottom line?
The insurance thing is interesting because it's going to get worse before it gets better because more insurance companies are folding and leaving.
It's crazy.
And, the legislature tried to think of ways to entice more insurance companies to come in, but Citizens is now the insurance company of last resort. You're insured by Citizens.
I'm insured by Citizens, yeah.
That's like, what is going on?
So there's no competition when it comes to insurance. We have all these new laws. I mean, it is a recipe for a lot of financial problems, but necessary problems.
Yeah,
we can't have
right.
another Surfside happen again. And the question is, where can everybody run to escape this? That's
Tennessee,
that's really, Georgia, right? But again, those states probably going to mirror Florida's condo laws at some point.
It's
but,
like,
I want to hear from our listeners. Do you guys who are living in condos, and especially in buildings, do you intend to ride out the wave and kind of see what happens, or are you going to be proactive and move out of your condo and into an HOA before all these bills come due?
I think it's interesting. Is there any kind of information bank that shows how many condos 3 stories or higher have fully funded reserves, have had inspections, have had, you know what I mean? To figure out what the numbers are, how bad is it?
I got an email either this morning or last night from one of our listeners, and I think it showed, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Only 5% of condos run their budgets with fully funded reserves. 5%, meaning 95% are operating without fully funded reserves. Think of what that means.
Yeah, so that was my question. You just answered it. Beautiful, because
scary.
I didn't know if they all reported, and we know for sure how the state of each condo that's going to fall into this.
I don't know how this information was gotten, quite frankly. But if 95%, I agree with that number. I would agree that 95% are not funding their reserve account. And when you think about it, that's scary. That's really scary when you think about what's about to happen.
Well, that's massively scary. And I mean, if any of you are lucky enough to live in a condominium that has already undergone a 30 or 40-year inspection, made all the necessary repairs, and already fully funded on your reserve accounts, good for you.
Yeah,
but
right.
That's like a tiny percentage of all the.
I agree.
Half the state lives in a condo or HOA.
Those guys who you just mentioned, they are in the minority. No two ways about it. But I'd like to know what our listeners think. Who do you blame for the massacre that our condominium and condominium owners are now about to go through? And how about yourself? You're about to move into an HOA? Let's be honest about this. Do any of you blame yourselves for waiving reserves for decade after decade after decade? How about this? Give us a call in the studio, 877-850-8585, 877-850-85, or join us on the YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and Condo Craze and HOAs. Tell us your thoughts in the chat box.
By the way,
yep.
The owners had the option to waive it.
Exactly. So did they do this to themselves?
Yes, they did.
Anybody out there brave enough or strong enough to admit that in some part you yourself is to blame? So let us know what you think. We'll be back right after this.
There are very large management companies.
Oh no, an unexpected leak. Jay, you know that's no way to solve a roof problem. Call Best Roofing. We solve roof problems.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies, and I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
$85, or ask your question in the chat box on our YouTube channel. Eric is here to help.
So I see Barry is our first call of the day. Let's go to Barry.
Barry.
Barry, I'm looking at the
Yeah,
chart.
hi, Karen. Hi, Eric.
How
How
are
are
you,
you?
Barry? I'm looking at the chart that you sent me.
Good.
I don't know where you got it from, but if this
Yeah.
chart is correct, it is absolutely frightening. We're talking about. Let's look at the 100% mark. Barry, if this is right, 98% of condos, 98%
Worse.
are less than 100% funded. I'd say, for looking at the 70% are under 50% funded. Think of that. 70% of all condos are even under 50% funded. I mean, the shock wave that's coming to people, it's going to be dramatic. It's going to be dramatic. What do you think, Barry?
Well, the person who sent that to me is Robert Nordland. He's the founder and president of Association Reserves. They're the nation's largest reserve study company, and they have prepared over 70,000 reserve studies. So
Wow.
I think, and he also helped write the National Reserve Study Standards. I think what he has in his chart is the facts.
Well, I know, and the crazy thing about that company is that they've done 70,000 reserves. There's no question, they've been the leader in reserves. And now the way the law is written, association reserves, unless they have an architect or engineer doing the study for you, they can't do the structural integrity reserve study. So I don't know, where we're going to find all these architects and engineers to do it.
Well, I think that's an easy answer. You said Brandon's going to be a structural engineer.
Right.
He'd never be home if he was able to do it. That's for sure. It's unbelievable.
But would he be rich?
For sure. They ask
Really?
who's going to benefit from all this.
Yeah.
And there's no question the architects, the engineers, the contractors. It's great times for them in Florida, not so great times for the owners of condo units. But this chart that you sent me, Barry, and I'll tell you, anybody who wants it, I'll gladly send it to them. Just email me. This is a scary chart. Like I said, about 70% don't even do 50% funded. Right? 10%
really?
are doing 0. Then you got about, let's see, another 12% are doing only about 10%. Then you do 20% of condos are doing about 12%. So we're talking about, a third of condos doing almost nothing. I mean, almost nothing. So it's absolutely frightening, the shock that's about to come to unit owners in the state of Florida. I mean, really shocking numbers are coming. But Barry, like always, we really appreciate you sharing this important but very scary information, quite frankly.
Can you email that to me too? Because I'll
love
put it
to.
up at our
Anybody who wants it,
850
I'd share it.
website.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty frightening. I mean,
It's
it
very
really
telling,
is
right?
frightening. Oh, it's very telling. I mean, it's if you're not reserving it all, think about it. For 30, 40 years, when you do this reserve study the first time, do you have any idea what those numbers are going to be? I mean, those numbers are going to be astronomical. We're talking about adding hundreds of dollars each month to your assessments, and it's not going to happen to only a few. It's going to happen to thousands and thousands of associations across our state. And, and there's no way to stop it. It's coming. Barry, thank you so much. Like always, really appreciate the important information that you always provide to this show. Really appreciate it.
Great.
How about we go to Janet in North Palm?
Hi, Janet.
Hi, how are you this
Hey,
morning?
Janet, how are you?
Hope you're doing fine. Again, thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you.
I have a quick question about information that we have received at our condo that due on or before January 1st of 2023, forms that have to be filled out that go to the
DBPR. Right. So
regarding how many condos we have,
how many are 3 stories and more, how many units, yes. So there's a form, it came out in the new law, right? In the new law, it's part of the requirement. But the DBPR did not create the form yet. So if I were you, I'd sit back. Eventually they're going to create the form. They'll send it to every condominium, and you'll have to get it back to them. I know the law says you can get it back to them any way you can. You can get it back to them by fax, email, whichever way is the easiest. But I wouldn't sweat about it yet.
I thought I saw that form. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
thought I saw that form on their website.
Oh, maybe they did. Maybe in the last week they did actually come up with it. If they did, yes, I'll certainly take a look and find out. But during the break, I'll check that out. But but as of last week, it wasn't done yet. And you simply got to fill it out. They're keeping track. They're simply keeping track of if you're in a condominium, how many buildings you have and how many of those buildings are 3 stories. But that's all it says. It's not keeping track of if you're fully funding a reserve account. Karen, it hit me over the last week.
Right.
So you're paying $4 per unit per year, and they're running an excess millions of dollars each year. Millions, right?
Can't they give it back to them and help
I
them?
got a better idea. Why not take the millions of dollars extra that the DBPR is making? Why not establish a new unit now, right? Put 7, 8, 10 people in a new unit, right? And have them have a requirement that the association must send a copy of their past budget
Love it.
to the DBPR every year. I mean, let's put our cards on the table, right? We have all these new laws that require fully funding, right? And what happens if the association says, I ain't doing it, period? It's not being done.
How do you police it?
How do you police it, right? Unless you have a person in the building that's going to police it, it doesn't get policed. So why not have, with all the millions of dollars that they sit on every year and get swept into the General Reserve Fund, why not have a couple of people at the DBPR looking at the budgets of associations to make sure that the budgets are being done right and the reserves are fully funded?
And once again, they should have been doing this from the beginning.
That's something they should have been doing for 30 years. So
what are they doing?
I
And
know
they
the
just throw that
DBPR.
money-
I know they listen to the show. Believe me, I know. So guys up there in Tallahassee, take that
Hello.
extra money, right? Hire a bunch of people. Have every condo in the state mail in the budget each year. Make sure that budget is fully funded, including reserves. And if it's not, just correct it. Make sure that give associations the opportunity to correct it. If
Help
they
'em.
don't correct
Help
it, right,
'em.
help them. If they don't correct it, you'll take enforcement action.
Is there any way to get the money that was dumped into the General Reserve
that's-
Fund
Karen,
back?
that was spent a long time. And you're asking the government for money back?
Yeah, but we have a $15 billion or more surplus.
Yeah, no, you'll never get that back. But the money that the surplus that we have every year should be spent on a new division to enforce all this. Yes.
Who is following up to see that all these associations are submitting all the information and doing all the?
That's what he's just
Well,
talking about.
that's what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about, Janet.
That's what I'm saying. Who is doing that now?
Janet, it's self-enforcement. It's like you're on your
Nobody.
You're on your own word. Nobody's doing it.
So
Is
if
the
we
bottom.
don't do it, no one knows. Huh?
Right, correct. Unless you have somebody in your building
Well,
who
don't say
wants
that,
it,
Eric.
who wants it funded, and they wind up ratting you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's again, it's an honor system, and it shouldn't be an honor system again because we're talking about potentially saving the lives of people. So it shouldn't be an honor
Well,
system.
If these things become laws, someone's going to be responsible for breaking a law.
Yep, and that's the board of directors for not doing it right. And
But
again,
it's not criminal, right?
it's-
Or is
no,
it
it wouldn't
criminal?
be criminal, but it would be. Well, remember what this new statute says. The new statute says if you fail to do these things, right, it's a breach of fiduciary duty of the director. So these directors can be sued in their individual capacity. So, you know, the amazing part is, Karen, it's so frustrating. So when you think about it, they passed this new statute, very complicated, all these new laws. They say if you don't follow these new laws, it's a breach of fiduciary duty of the directors individually. They can get in trouble on their own. But we're not going to make them go to school to learn these new laws, right? And we're not going to enforce them. We have no enforcement mechanism unless someone rats you out in your own building. You know, they need to get with it. Janet, thank you.
I want to confirm with you.
Yeah. Yes, go right ahead,
Okay,
quickly.
Thank you very much. So it's no longer required that a new board member has to take a course within 90 days.
It was never required, okay? That's what I'm pushing for year after year. There's 2 ways to get certified. One is by signing that stupid, dumb form that says I've read my documents and I'm a freaking genius. The other way is by
comprende?
The other way is by taking a course. And if there ever was a year to take a course, this is obviously the year. Okay? Janet, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it. How about we go to Bill in Hollywood? Bill, how are you?
Hi, Eric. Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning. Eric, good. I live in a condo where I requested documentation from the board, and I emailed it to them, and the president and the secretary wrote back to me and said that they have 30 to 60 days to get me a response. Is that true?
Okay.
I thought it was 10 business days.
Okay, so the question is, right, it all depends on what you sent them.
Yeah.
Did you send them a question to
them an email.
answer? Hold on. But in that email, what did that email say? Did the email ask questions, or did the email say, I want access to documents? So answer that question first.
Okay, it was both.
Okay.
It was the board doesn't take questions during our Zoom meeting.
Right, so you ask questions in writing.
You have to submit them.
Okay,
I asked
so,
questions in
all right, so let
writing,
me answer your question.
and
Let
they
me
never
answer your question.
answered them.
Okay,
Yep.
so in regards to the questions that you asked them, right, and you want them to answer,
Yeah.
they are right. They get 30 days to answer those questions. If they want help from their lawyer, right, they want a legal opinion on it, they get 60 days. So they are right in terms of answering questions. However, if you asked for access to records, you have access to those records must be provided within 10 days. Okay? So you probably threw everything into one letter, and there's probably 2 things going on.
Yes.
Okay? So, yes, you're right. Access to the records in 10 days. They're right. They get 30 or 60 days to answer those questions. Okay?
Okay. Yep. Now, another quick question is, we just got a $1 million settlement on the piping in the building.
Okay.
They filed a claim, the board did, and we ended up, the lawyer takes his fee, we ended up with $600,000.
Okay.
Where does that money need to be held?
So
Can it be put in the operating?
if it's a settlement of a case, yes, it can go right.
That money?
And you have to look at your documents, but there's probably nothing that prevents the money from going straight into the operating account. And obviously, if you need new piping, if that's what it was for, that's what it should be spent for. Because if it's not spent on that, right, then it can be considered common surplus, and it's got to go back to the owners. So the board better make sure they spent that on the claim that they put in for. Okay?
Okay.
I once told an association that and was fired immediately.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they wanted to keep the money.
Oh, we
I
don't
said,
want to hear
you
that.
can't. You have a $4 million surplus. You can't. That's the unit owner's money.
You got to give it back?
Yeah, you're fired. So that's
Oh
what
my
happened.
gosh.
Yeah. So, Okay?
Interesting. They
All right.
probably don't realize that. Yep, I appreciate it, Eric. You do a great job and a great service.
Thanks, Bill. I
They really
appreciate
do.
it, too.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank
people
you.
are already emailing me. They want the chart that Barry
Yeah.
sent in, and I promise I will get it to you.
Actually, you give it to me, and I'll put up at
Oh,
850WFTL.com
that's great. So
as
let
a
me
story.
do that right now, Karen. I'm going to send that to you.
I'll
and
put
then
it
you
up
can
right
look
now.
at it right now. That's great.
Right now.
It's probably a way for me to put it on YouTube, but I'm not smart enough to figure that out.
Oh, that's all right.
But let's do this. Let's take our bottom of the hour break. Taking your calls in the studio, 877-850-8585. Again, 877-850-8585. Or write in.
Or HOA in need of accounting services? Look no further. Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg is one of South Florida's largest accounting and auditing firms, as recognized by the South Florida Business Journal, and is one of the few accounting firms uniquely specialized to provide accounting services to their growing condominium and homeowner association clientele throughout Florida. With primary offices in Aventura and Boca Raton, satellite offices in Naples and Orlando, and a professional staff of 65, Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg is prepared to meet the needs of any condominium or HOA in the state. The professionals at Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg also have experience working with timeshares, cooperatives, hotel condominiums, mixed-use buildings, and ancillary operations like restaurants, spas, and country clubs. Put their 25 years experience in your corner. Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg, 305-937-0116. That's 305-937-0116 or grgcpa.com.
Someday, you will need insurance. And for that day, you'll be glad you wrote down Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. Why? Because Insurco virtually insures everything. They're a full-line insurance agency that'll put together the best possible coverage and premium for almost anything. Need homeowners or condo insurance? Call Insurco. Need auto or motorcycle insurance? Call Insurco. How about golf cart insurance or trailer and RV insurance? Just call Insurco for a free quote. They're open every day. From renters insurance, officers and directors insurance, and personal liability umbrellas to all types of business insurance, boat insurance, cancer policies, life, health, and annuities. All you need is Insurco. Get a free quote. They service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Speak English and Spanish. Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. It's the only name you need. Office at 14401 West Sunrise Boulevard in Sunrise, inside Edmore Chevrolet.
Call 954-846-1206. 954-846-1206. That's 954-846-1206.
Need an insurance evaluation, audit, or quotation for your condo association or homeowners association? If so, then you need to speak with our insurance experts at Mack & Waltz. We insure over 800 associations, and we are the clear leader in this marketplace. Mack & Waltz has been in business since 1989. We write insurance on billions of dollars of property values. We are an independent insurance agency representing insurance companies which specialize in condo and HOA insurance. The staff at Mack & Waltz works closely with board members and property managers and regularly attends association meetings to help educate the association about their insurance policies. To learn more about how Mack & Waltz can save you money and improve your insurance program, call now 954-640-6225 and ask for Greg Waltz. 954-640-6225. Mack & Waltz Insurance Group. Let us protect your association.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Condo, Craze, and HOA. With attorney Eric Glazer, who specializes in community association law. Really important now is everything condo. Yeah. 877-850-8585.
Okay, bunch of questions on our chat box on YouTube. Eric Sanders writes saying, "Good morning. Just to clarify, every condo must have fully funded, fully reserved. By when exactly? And are there any exceptions?" Okay, there's confusion. When we say fully funded reserves, what we're saying is by January 1st, 2025, when you do your budget must include fully funded reserves. It does not mean that all your reserves must be fully funded. In other words, on January 1st, 2025, if you do your roof analysis and your roof has a 20-year life expectancy, so for the year 2025, you're going to put away 1/20th of the roof, okay? It does not mean that it's got to be fully funded. It means that when you do the budget is going to include fully funded reserves. When you do your analysis, you're going to fully fund it. But it could take 10, 15 years to have it fully funded or more. Okay? So I hope that answers your question. Eric, let's see. Marie writes in, Eric, I cannot believe that you helped pressure the legislature to do this monster bill in the midst of high inflation. I think it should be revisited and done more fairly. Marie, let me tell you something. I've been an attorney for 30 years. If there's one thing that I'm proud that I did this year, it's helping pressure the legislature to get this bill passed. I've been trying to get reserves made mandatory for years. Okay, I begged the legislature to do it. And let me tell you something, Marie. You know why the building fell in Champlain Towers? You know why Champlain Towers actually fell? We can debate all day long about the engineering reasons why the building fell. But you know why the building really fell? The building fell because of money. Money. That's the only reason why 98 people are dead today. Because if the building had money in 2018 to fix the damn building, right? If the condo had the money, it would have been fixed and 98 people would be alive today. Instead, the legislature waited until this terrible, terrible, unfortunate accident happened and said, wait a minute, we don't require people to put away money for a rainy day? Oh, okay, let's start doing it now. And they only did it after the legislature went home. And after I wrote a letter to DeSantis saying, I can't believe you let the legislature go home without a deal, and if another building falls while you're still governor, your political career is done. And suddenly, 2 days later, we had an agreement. But to say that, I should be embarrassed about this bill, let me tell you, if there's one thing I'm proud of, if I do nothing else in my career, I am very proud that I helped get this bill done.
God, yes.
Let's
it's your
go
legacy,
back to the phones. Marie in Fort Lauderdale.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you, Marie?
Thank you for taking my call. I have two quick questions. Ours is not like what you're just speaking about. We have a president that was not eligible to be on the board. He was not eligible when he sent his form in, nor was he eligible when he was nominated president. We have informed him of this, but he refuses to step down. Now we have gone ahead and gotten the quorum of owners' signature on the petition,
yes,
which we had
to recall him.
Mail
right.
To recall him. But what happens now when they get that letter? Is there anything?
It's not a letter.
Have to do?
I don't know if you did it correctly, but you're supposed to have everybody sign their own separate recall ballot that you can get off the internet.
I have those.
Okay, so when you how I do it is I get a process server to serve it on the condominium, and the process server fills out an affidavit showing exactly what was served. And this is a condo, right? So in a condo, once it's served, the board has 5 days to hold a meeting to decide whether or not you did it correctly. And the law dramatically changed. Now they can only challenge you. The board can only reject it for two reasons. Number one, you did service a process wrong, which is why I always used a process server. Or number two, that a ballot is what's called facially invalid. And it's very hard to prove a ballot is facially invalid. The only reason a ballot could be facially invalid is if you used photocopies of the ballots. No, in other words, you checked the recall box and then made 25 copies for people to sign. Everybody has to check their own recall box. Or if the form was simply just absolutely filled out incorrectly, there was no space for recall or retain. So, and again, if you take the form off the internet,
each form was and each form was individually signed, so some by email, some in person.
Okay, then it's very hard, if not impossible, for the board to take the position that they are facially invalid and we're going to reject them. Okay, so then if the board if the board does not certify the recall, then the petitioner, right, the unit owner representative, I should say, has the right to file an arbitration petition. So that's your next stop.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Marie, thanks for the phone call.
Question,
yeah, go right, real quick.
Yes. We have somebody here on board that's driving an Uber and has his signs on his windshield.
Right.
And we told him that, it's not allowed. It's considered commercial vehicle. You have to remove them. He refuses.
Okay.
Is
So
that considered a commercial or working vehicle?
again, if I'd have to look at your documents, number one, to see what your documents say. But I will tell you that over the years, the arbitrators have become more lenient in that regard. In other words, is the car really a car? Yes, an Uber is really a car. Does it have passenger seating, or is it primarily used to carry tools? Obviously, an Uber is used to carry passengers, not tools. And if this guy would simply just cover up the Uber sign when he went to sleep at night, we'd really have nothing to fight about, right? So that's what I would tell him to do, rather than have us file an arbitration action against him and get an arbitrator to require that, because he's going to wind up paying the association their attorney's fees and costs as well. Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you so
Marie,
much.
thank you. How about we got a Michael in Boynton Beach?
Good morning, Eric. You are talking to one very frustrated board member in Boynton Beach.
The boy.
And
You're not the only one.
here's
Go
the
ahead.
story. Our president is the only one among us that can communicate with our attorney.
Right.
The rest of us children aren't adult enough to communicate with our attorney directly.
Understood.
And when we have a motion that let's say I have a motion and I want to know if it has any 720 deficiencies, I ask the president to forward it to our attorney, and filter through the president will come a response, and maybe the attorney will say, I don't like 1 and 2.
Right.
So I write back, I have the president write back to the attorney, well, tell me about 1 and 2. What in 720 can you cite that makes 1 and 2 not proper? And I never get a citation from the attorney.
Okay.
It's like he never wants to stand up to what his opinions are. I never get the citation.
Okay. So let me tell you.
I got the,
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I got the board together. I said, look, we got to change this. We have to have a rule that we can write a letter to the attorney and have our president forward it to the attorney. And when he does forward it, our president's got to send a copy to the whole board so we know that he did send it. And when the attorney sends his response, we don't want to filter through the president. We want the attorney to send a copy to all the board members when he responds.
Okay.
And our attorney said, I'm not playing that game. I'm not sending copies to all the board members. What the hell is so difficult about that?
There's nothing difficult about it. Absolutely nothing at all. I mean, you're sending it in a group email. Why should that be a big deal? I mean, that's respectfully, I don't agree with that answer at all. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. I feel the opposite. To me, it's playing a game when you're only communicating with one person on the board. It's not playing a game when you're communicating with everybody on the board. So I personally take the position I'm completely against the opinion of that attorney. Oftentimes, boards take the position that only one person should talk to the attorney. Otherwise, the bills are going to be crazy. But even if that's the case, if I get a complaint from someone else on the board about something illegal being done, 100% I'm going to look at it. And if it's a problem, I'm going to let the board know. No two ways about it. I don't care that I'm not supposed to be spoken to by one person. Bottom line, if my client, if someone on the board is advising me that the board is doing something illegal, I don't care that it came from someone who's not supposed to talk to me. What the hell does that have to do with it? I was still informed that my client is doing something wrong, illegal, in violation of the statute, and I now have a duty to advise the entire board that, wait a minute, you're doing something wrong. That's how I feel about it.
So is your view that the client is the board or the client is the president?
Client is the board, 100%. But, and again, if you don't like the rule that you made and you have the majority of the board on your side, change the rule. I mean, somebody make a motion to change the rule, and that's it, and the rule is changed.
The rule is changed, and the lawyer still ignores the rule. The lawyer says, I'm not interested in that. I'm not.
Okay. So if the lawyer won't do that, right? If the lawyer won't listen to you and you have a majority of the board in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, then it's time to fire the lawyer, period. If the lawyer won't listen to a majority of the board, he won't communicate with everybody in the board via an email. If you're saying, please, when you send out something, just CC everybody in the board, he won't do it. You have every right to fire that lawyer. Okay?
Okay.
All right, I wish you luck.
Thank
I wish
you.
you better communication. Let's do this. Let's take our final break of the hour. Keep the calls coming in, 877-850-80. 850-8585, or ask you questions in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
Is your home or condo looking old, worn out, and in need of a fresh look? Then you need PD Painting to paint your property and make it look like new again. PD Painting will first properly prepare your home and condo and then use only the highest quality paint products. After many years in the painting industry, PD Painting has achieved a reputation for always delivering a reliable and professional finish. PD Painting is fully licensed and insured and offers a 7 to 10 year warranty. Their technicians are expert craftsmen. Let PD Painting handle all the details and then sit back and watch them restore your property and bring back that brand new look and feel. Need a service call? PD Painting will be there on the spot. Need financing? PD Painting can offer that too. Call PD Painting at 888-416-3204. Again, that's 888-416-3204. Go to the website pdpaintinginc.com. Need painting done in your home and community? Contact the experts at PD Painting.
This message is for anyone who has taken on the important responsibility of becoming an officer or director in a homeowner or condominium association. It is also for the management companies who work closely with these caring people to make sure things are done the right way. Hello, I'm Gil Pomar, South Florida Regional President for Center State Bank, now the second largest bank based in Florida. Our bank, Center State Bank, has an amazing team of professionals who are exclusively dedicated to the homeowner and condo association market. Your job is not easy. There are repairs and new projects that need financing. There are legal and social issues that need to be understood. There are also technology and servicing issues that your residents want to be improved. Why not choose a bank that knows this business backward and forward? Why not have a local banker who will meet with you face to face whenever it is convenient for you or your board? Center State Bank has over 2,000 associations as customers for a reason. Please give us a chance to earn your business. Call Terry Russo at 954-633-1666 to make it happen. Center State Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Eric Glazer has all the information you need on anything condo or HOA. You can go to our chat box on our YouTube channel, Condo, Craze, and HOAs. I've linked a story there about how many condos are fully funded with their reserves in Florida. It's pretty shocking. You might want to see that story as well. But call us, 877-850-8585, toll free, or you can ask us a question in the chat box. Don't wait to the end of the show, though.
All right, let's look at the chat board. Alina B. writes in, what do you mean leave your condo and go to an HOA? We just completed our concrete restoration, all paid with reserves. Why would I leave now? Other buildings are going to be in the same boat. Hey, look, that's fantastic. If all your repairs are done, your 30-year or your 40-year, and it's already paid for, that's great. Now, that being the case, you said you used all your reserves basically to do it, if I'm hearing it right. So, Alina, starting on January 1st, 2025, you're going to have to start fully funding those reserves, replacing all of it for 10 different categories. So understand, on January 1st, 2025, your monthly assessments are going to go up, way up, okay? So, but if you already completed the 30 or 40-year inspection and it's already paid for, you didn't have to borrow money from a bank, that's great, because I will tell you that a lot of associations are borrowing money from a bank to do this, the 30 or 40-year, so that's something that they're going to have to pay back forever. Plus, they got mandatory, fully funded reserves coming up. So think about how much money is going to be on their books forever. Leon writes in, way overreaction. One condo building falls in over 70 years of condo. It was terrible, no doubt, but the building had known defects. It's unconscionable to kick out fixed-income seniors over this. Leon, I get how you feel, but understand it's not just about one building falling. Here's what it's about.
98 people dead.
It's 98 people dead, right? But here's what it's also about. I told everybody that in May 2018, the same time that the building, the Champlain Towers, was undergoing inspection, I went to a condo meeting in Sunrise. And the condo meeting was about passing a special assessment for a total, Karen, a total of $300 to fix a plumbing problem. Not $300 a month, not, you know.
Just boom per unit, though.
One shot, $300. That's it.
No.
Okay? I can't tell you how many people came over to me that night, hysterical, crying. Please do not let them do this to us. We don't have the $300, and we can't afford it. And please don't let them take our $300 from us, and we can't pay it.
Well, 40% of Americans don't have $400 in savings.
Okay. So, with all due respect, Leon, it's not just about one building falling in 70 years. If people can't pay a $300 special assessment, what's going to happen when eventually the roof needs replacement? When eventually the electricity needs replacement?
To put it into perspective.
The structure, the balconies. If they can't pay a $300 assessment, how are they going to pay a $3,000 assessment or $30,000 assessment?
Champlain Towers had a $10 million assessment.
Right. And
that's
again,
why it's important.
And again, Leon, you have to remember it fell. Again, we can argue all day long about the technical reasons why it fell, but it fell because of lack of money. And that's what's going to happen eventually in these 55 and over communities that waive reserves forever, and then they need major structural repairs.
Especially on the ocean.
Because, of course, because they're hitting 40, 50, 60 years, and there's no money to do it. Nobody wants to take out a long-term loan and have that on the books forever. Nobody wants to fully fund reserves. So just keep kicking the can down the road, and if you think Champlain Towers is the only building that can fall, respectfully, that's where we disagree.
$10 million assessment, how much is that per unit?
It depends how many units you have, right?
Right.
Yeah. But, okay.
That's like $100,000, I think it was, for each unit there.
Exactly. How about
at Champlain
Towers? It was $100,000. And you had to ask the people for that?
Yeah.
During COVID, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, it was so. Now, Karen, if in 2018, let's really talk turkey here. If in 2018, and the engineer was Marabido, and if in 2018 Marabido comes to Champlain Towers and says, okay, it's $5 million right now, you have a mess of a problem, and it needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed immediately. And they were lucky. They had $6 million in the bank, right? Well, they had $4 million in the bank and needed to borrow only $1 million. Would the building have been fixed, Karen?
No, not yet.
No. If they had the money to fix it. Of course it would have been fixed.
Well, yes, I see.
Right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It wasn't fixed because they didn't have the money.
Right.
So 98 people died because of money.
Money.
Right? So that's why you have to start forcing people to put money away for a rainy day, like it or not. And let me tell you, if you wind up living in the building long enough, there'll be a day when all of a sudden you're going to need major electrical repairs, major structural repairs. And you know what's going to be great? When the board comes and tells you, don't worry about it, we have it in the bank.
Yes.
Right? Because we've been putting it away forever. Right? How great is that going to feel? So, again, nobody tell me that we did the wrong thing here. We did the right thing.
But what happens to all of these seniors who lived on a fixed income?
It's going to be tough. I get it, but they were lied to.
Yeah.
Karen, these seniors were lied to for the last 30, 40 years.
Right.
They're being told that it costs only $250, $300 a month. Right. I always picture, in my mind, a group of women getting together and playing mahjong at the mahjong table, and everybody talking, how much, and they're from different condos. How much is your assessments? How much is your assessment? And the winner is the one with the lowest amount, right?
Well, that was when I was shopping for a condo.
Yeah.
I went with the lowest amount.
They're the biggest loser, not the biggest winner. Okay? They're the one that it's going to hit the most. Okay?
Whoops.
That's the bottom line. All right, how about we go to who's next, VJ?
Beatrice in
Beatrice. Beatrice, West Palm Beach. How are you, Beatrice?
Hey, B.
Good morning. I have a pipe outside my condominium. It was leaking, and the association manager agreed to pay the plumber to dig out the pipe and put a new pipe. And then the president came and said that was my responsibility.
No.
Where was this pipe?
Outside.
Outside, inside in the floor, outside the condo, but down into the floor.
It's hard for me to imagine that that's actually your problem. You know, very, very hard for me to believe.
I know many plumbers told me we better speak to the management or the association.
Right.
They
What
knew it wasn't my
what
problem,
kind of
but
pipe is it for? Is it an air conditioner pipe?
It probably brings water to my apartment.
Okay. Yeah. I if it's outside the building, I don't know. I'm not. The truth. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no.
Well, it brings
because I
water
know
in
where
from
my
outside.
mom lives. Right. They have the compressors. Outside the building, and their docs clearly say if the line breaks between your unit and the compressor, that's your problem. It says it in the documents. So I don't know. It's difficult for me to answer your question without taking a look at the documents. I can't say.
I look into 1-8. 718.
Right.
108.
Good for her.
And if there's anything outside my unit, it's a common property.
Well, generally, even if it is, it doesn't mean that in your documents you didn't agree that to fix that line. Okay.
And brings water from outside
Right.
into your house.
So we don't know. I can't help you without looking at your documents. If you have your documents and want me to take a look.
I have in the document this. Is there any?
Okay, wait. I can't read your documents over the phone. We're not going to do that, right? But if you want to call me tomorrow in the office. Hold on, Beach. If you want to call me in the office tomorrow, I'd be glad to talk to you. 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. So I'd be glad to help you out tomorrow, Beatrice. But just because the line is outside doesn't 100% necessarily mean that it's not her problem. We go to Tom in Canada.
Whoa, Tom, international.
Hey, Tom. How are you, Tom?
How are you?
Where in Canada?
Hello?
Yeah, where in Canada are you, Tom?
Ontario.
Okay.
London, Ontario.
How can we help?
I have a question regarding reserve funds. We are a 3-story with no reserves.
Oh, boy.
Can the board issue an assessment for our reserve fund to bring it up before the year 2025?
No, you don't fund
Good
reserves with a special assessment. So if you never had reserves, right, and it's time for you to do reserves, you're going to have somebody come up and do a reserve study. And they're going to say, okay, the roof has 10 years left. It's going to be $100,000 to fix. Every year you got to put away $10,000, right? The electric has 5 years left. It's going to be $100,000. For the next 5 years, you got to put away $20,000. And whatever, you're going to do the analysis with 10 different categories now. It's got to be with the foundation. It's got to be with the plumbing.
If we put money ahead of in reserve now, would that not lower our monthly reserve costs every month after 2025?
Yes, technically it would, because if you wait
You're
for
all set.
2025, their life expectancy of those items would be shorter, right? And the amounts that you have to put away would be greater. So yes, if you got to jump on this, it would be less.
How would we ask for this money from the owners if we can't do an assessment?
You would just simply put it in the budget now. Remember,
And
when
they're
the
not
board,
allowed to waive it, right?
Well, when the boards, they can waive it until January 1st, 2025. So if the board puts out a budget right now, remember, every year the board is required to send out a budget showing fully funded reserves. That's what they're required to do. And if the board doesn't give the unit owners the opportunity to waive the funding of reserves for the next 2 years, that budget with fully funded reserves goes through, like it or not. So that's how you do it. You send a budget out with fully funded reserves, Tom. You don't let them vote on it, waiving it. Okay. And that's it. Fully funded reserves you have. Okay?
So, Eric, if the reserves, if they keeps getting more expensive as the years go on, then your reserves have to go up.
Yeah, absolutely. In other words, Tom's question is right. If we get a 2-year jump on this,
Right.
Right? Is it going to be less? Is it going to be a smaller number than it would
Even
be
though
if we
it's
wait to
going up?
2025?
Right.
And the answer is yes, because you're getting a 2-year jump.
Okay.
Absolutely, it would be less. Okay? Good question, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. How about we go
You're
to
making me do
Murray?
ma-
I don't know where Murray is, but how about we go to Murray?
You're making me do math, Eric. Hi, Murray.
Hello.
Hey, Murray, how are you?
So, I'm well, and yourself?
Okay, how can we help?
My wife and I have lived in our condo for 35 years. We had a neighbor move in about 5 years ago that smoked.
Ugh.
The smoke comes in.
Hate it.
It's been hard to live with. My clothes smell like smoke.
Yeah.
But then recently, my wife has come down with respiratory problems.
Oh.
Okay.
That she believes it's from this cigarette smoke. We complained to the board, to the condo prior, to no avail. So now we're stuck in this situation.
Time for you to take action against the neighbor that's causing the problem. Now, how do you do it?
It's a
How do you prove it?
nuisance.
It's a nuisance under your docs. No two ways about it. Karen hit it on the head. And you can enforce those documents in a court of law. That's what you need to do. Now, how you're going to prove to the judge that it smells in your unit, right? You're going to have to get an expert that can measure the air quality in your unit, especially when the other person is smoking. Someone who can testify as an expert that it stinks in your unit.
But what
You can
about
also-
his wife's
Yes,
doctor?
you can also
coming
bring in
and
your
saying,
wife's doctor, right? I mean, prove to the judge. You're a judge sitting there and you hear it smells. How does the judge know? He just should take your word for it? So you're going to need experts that can measure the air quality in the unit, right, and testify in front of the court that it's impossible to live here with this person smoking. That's exactly where it's coming from, and there's measures that can be taken for the person to make sure that it lessens the burden on your home. But I just got that whisper in my ear that we got 10 seconds to get off. Hey, if you guys need legal help during the week, just give
Thank
Glazer
you.
and Sachs a call, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. It's been an honor to spend another Sunday with you, and we'll see you and speak to you again next Sunday on Condo, Craze, and HOAs at 11. Have a great and safe week, everybody.
Thanks, Eric.